Hey guys, welcome to our last week of Superheroes Can't Save You. I hope you've enjoyed this series based off of Todd Miles's book. It's been really fun for me to go through this with you guys. I've learned a lot. I hope you've learned a lot too. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and dive in. This week, our final week, is on Spider-Man. And so a little bit about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. He's just always been. I started by watching the older, like, early 2000 movies. Like, that was my generation of Spider-Man, and I loved them. I don't think I could go back and watch them and love them anymore, which is a little sad. I love the new ones. But yeah, I love Spider-Man, and I've loved him forever. And I don't know, I think it's the fact that he's just like your average high schooler kid who's just goofy and having a fun time and kind of nerdy, quirky, but he has plans for his life. You know, he's gonna go to college and he's like super smart and whatever and all that. And then he gets bit by a spider, and so then he has to balance these, like every other superhero, balance these two lives with keeping his identity a secret but also saving the world, right? And so he is bitten by a radioactive spider, obviously, and he becomes a super Spidey man. And yeah, he becomes this kind of like genetic hodgepodge where he's not really human, but he's not really obviously a spider, and so he becomes this kind of strange mutant that's this blend of the two, right? So he's not really either one on its own, he's just this weird mix. And so here we go into the heresy. Yeah, so I have to go, I have my book, and we're gonna see if I butcher the names or not. I probably will. So before we get to the heresy that we're talking about today, we're gonna jump back, and by 5th century, the church, they had the councils, they had met together, and they concluded that Jesus was both human and divine, but explaining, like, it obviously wasn't easy to define that, but it's easier to also say that than to understand, right? It's easier to say, we know this, we don't know how. And so people started to try to explain how. And so Nestorius, which was a bishop of the church in Constantinople, tried to answer the question by doing a strict division between the two persons, right? So almost like low-key schizophrenia of two personalities, like two people, one mind, right? And yeah, not really. They bashed that one down, but often what happens when there's a disagreement, I mean, in the church and in the world, is there's normally some sort of pendulum swing. We're not really good at like making a mistake and then going into the center, right? We normally make a mistake and then swing onto the other side. So then came along a guy who I really struggled to say the name of, and his name was Eutychus. But anyways, he said that they were one essence, right? That they were one, what's the right word? One nature. They were combined, basically. He wasn't two persons in one body. He wasn't two natures in one body. He was this weird one nature hodgepodge. And the problem that comes with that is that when your two things mix together, you lose the integrity of both of the parent things. When you make a cake and you bake and you mix together the ingredients, you know, your flour, I like chocolate, so your chocolate, your baking powder, your, you know, whatever it is that you're putting in your cake, when you make all those and you bake it together, you no longer have the original ingredients. You have a new form of those ingredients, but you're not going to take your cake and be like, shoot, I needed some flour for my bread. Let me just take some of this cake, right? You can't they lose the integrity of what they are. So basically, what he's saying is these two natures are combined, so he is God-man, kind of like Spiderman, right? Not fully God, not fully human, but something mixed together. And that's not right, right? And yeah, this one kind of blows me away, but part of what blows me away is that it's very easy to believe in how many of us look at Christ and not understand the power that he has as God, or then look at the other end and go, well, he could resist temptation as a human because he was God, and kind of denying the fact that he was fully human. And the Bible repeatedly tells us that Jesus is fully God and fully human, and we can't really understand that. We can't really fully comprehend that, and that's really hard. That's really hard. You know, we like to explain things, and there's a certain degree that we can't comprehend. And like I've said, it wouldn't be the closing of this series if I understood God fully, I'd be concerned that I could understand the creator of the universe fully, but that doesn't make it peaceful, right? And we still wrestle with this, and that's good. We wrestle with this, but just know that many people have tried to explain the exact of like, this is exactly how it worked, and that doesn't work. We can understand. Now, that's not to say that we don't understand things about it. I mean, we do understand that God is fully God, fully human, one person. What? Right? Like, or that Jesus is fully God, fully human, one person. We understand that the Trinity, 3 persons but one God, it's not multiple gods. It's rough, and we can affirm what we know, and we can learn more and continue to affirm. But if you're looking right now for the put my finger on it, there it is, that is what God is, you're going to be disappointed. We're called to have faith, and there's always, at the end of the day, going to be a certain amount of faith that has to be extended to believe in God. Even though, and I will say this, you know, you listen to science saying like, oh, it's not scientifically, it makes the most sense, guys. Science cannot disprove God, and some people will say that that's a fallacy in and of itself, because it's like, well, you can't, and it's like, yes, but also you can't disprove him. You can't disprove the need for a creator in the midst of this, right? And so we love science and we love knowing stuff, and I think that's so great, and I think that brings God so much joy that we want to continue to pursue to know more and understand him better. But sometimes we have to humble ourselves and understand that, God, I understand that I'm never going to fully understand this, and that it wasn't made or meant for me to understand. And you know, maybe someday, like when we're in heaven, we'll go, oh, it makes sense now. But if you're spending your life trying to pursue ultimate knowledge of how God and Christ and the Trinity, and how Christ is 2 persons, and all of these things, how it works, you're going to be wasting a lot of time, and unfortunately probably leading a lot of people into heresies, right? That's what these people did, and they were really genuinely trying to help, right? But we don't need to make excuses, and we don't need to explain God for God, right? We do need to learn about him and know who he is, so that we can teach others and be lights in the world, and have a relationship. You can't have a relationship with someone that you don't know or understand, at least a little. And, you know, then as you know someone, you want to get to know them more. But I hope that in this series you have learned that there are some things that we just have to learn to say, I don't understand. And it takes humility, and it's basically, that's what it is. We need humility to say, I don't fully understand. When we're talking to friends, trying to explain God to them, we can explain what we know, But when they have a question that we can't answer sometimes, you just gotta say, I don't know. That's a good question. And you can always, again, seek to learn more, but you're not just gonna get a yes or no for something so complex, right? And so I hope you've gained an appreciation for the complexity of God, and the humility to know when to accept that I may never fully understand this, and that's okay. That doesn't mean he's not real. That doesn't mean that I'm foolish. That doesn't mean, right? Yeah, so Spider-Man heresy. The heresy, the heresy is called, oh no, here we go, because it's based off the name of the person. I can't say his name. Eutychianism. I'm going to stick with that. That, or it's also known as monophysitism. So, the concept, monophysitism, is a little easier to understand because it goes off the concept of he's one, right? Mono, one. His godhood and his humanhood are blended together into one new mutant. Again, but both losing the integrity of being God and being human. So that is the Spider-Man heresy. If you haven't bought this book already, I really encourage you to do it. Todd Miles is a genius. It's a really, really good book. So I encourage you guys, get it, read it, discuss it with your families, discuss it with your friends, wrestle with it. It's good to wrestle with. And I've been so blessed to go through this with you. I've really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys have a splendid day or night or whenever you're watching this. But yeah, I'm super excited that we got to go through this. I'm super excited for our next series, and I will see you later. Bye, guys. Maybe.